Hello, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and please check out my channel for other ZeeWorld updates. So the last update about Twist of Fate. Rhea threatens and manipulates everyone to commit suicide if Ranbir did not marry her, and Ranbir proposed to Rhea after his and Prachi's separation, even though Grandma advised Ranbir not to marry Rhea because he is making a big mistake, but Ranbir was still angry with Prachi. Siddharth tells Prachi about Rhea's confession, but Prachi tells Siddharth that Rhea just lied to him. Let's continue. Prachi got restless and walks in the room. The staff lady gives her lemonade and goes to the washroom. She picks up the things kept there and says, "Congratulations, ma, you are pregnant." She shows her pregnancy detection strip. The hotel staff lady congratulates Prachi and says, "You are pregnant." She hands over the pregnancy detection strip to her. Prachi looks at the positive lines on the HCG strip and tells herself that she is pregnant. Remembering Ranbir rushing home and telling her that "we are pregnant," he lifted and swallows her. Prachi asks, "What do you mean?" Ranbir says, "I am going to become a father." Prachi says, "How can you become a father? I am not pregnant." He says, "I am happy with the happiness of becoming a father." Prachi asks him to grow up first, and then they will think about the child. He says, "Your startup is your first child, and then our baby." Ranbir says he has 3 dreams. First, a marriage with you. Second, a child with you. And the third is the startup. He says he wants to be the father of a little girl, and he will be happy when she gives him a little Prachi. He says he really wants to become a dad, and he will keep her as a Maharani. Prachi says, "My mad husband." Ranbir says, "Once you get pregnant, you just order me to do anything," and says little Prachi will call me brother. Prachi says, "First focus on the startup." Ranbir says, "I will become a good person, and I will forgive you for your mistakes." He says, "I will never hurt you." The flashback ends. Prachi says, "We are really pregnant, Ranbir," and then she recalls his accusations. She gets teary eyes and thinks, "I thought to end my relationship with Ranbir, but now what shall I do?" She cries sitting on the bed. Ranbir is on a call, and he says that he has checked all the mails. It is perfect. Prachi cries. Ranbir looks at the window that gets open with a heavy wind. He ends the call and comes to the window. Pallavi comes there and informs him that the marriage Mahurat is tomorrow. She says, "I talked to the priest, and he told us that the Mahurat is tomorrow, else it will be after a month." Ranbir asks if this is not too early. Pallavi says this marriage should have happened 2.5 years ago. She then asks for Siddharth's number. Ranbir says, "I don't have it." Vikram says, "I have it. Why do you need it?" Pallavi goes with Vikram. Ranbir feels uneasy and strange and asks himself why. Ranbir recalls seeing Prachi and Siddharth on the bed and gets upset. A song plays in the background. Vikram asks Pallavi if you are not done with whatever happened, that you want to call Siddharth and inform him about Ranbir and Rhea's marriage. Pallavi calls Siddharth. Siddharth says hello. Pallavi asks if he deleted that number, that he is saying hello formally. Siddharth recalls Rhea's plotting and says, "I did not know you." Pallavi asks him to say it again and put the call on loudspeaker. Vikram scolds Siddharth and calls him a snake in the sleeve. He counted the favors which they have done on him. Siddharth says, "You have done my burial, and now what are you expecting from me?" Siddharth says, "I was hurt before, but now I know the truth, that you always wanted to get Rhea and Ranbir married." Pallavi takes the call and says, "We always wanted," and says she is getting them married tomorrow. She says she did not call him to invite him, but she wanted to ask him to keep his inauspicious face away from their marriage. Pallavi says, "What do you think? That only Prachi and you have the right to move on," and says Ranbir and Rhea are moved on and very happy. Siddharth ends the call and thinks that he is not affected whoever Rhea marries with. He thinks that he shall tell Prachi. Rhea thinks that what if Siddharth creates some problem, and then thinks that he cannot even do anything. She gets her friend's call and picks it. Shaina says, "I am going to reach the airport," and says the men are like this, and asks her not to take tension and think good, and says you deserve better. Rhea laughs and says even you will laugh. She says, "I am getting married to my love," and asks her to come and says she will tell her. Shaina says okay. Siddharth comes to Prachi and sees her crying. He thinks that it seems that even she got the call. He asks, "Did you come to know?" Prachi says just now and says she doesn't know how to react, and this time it is such, and says everything happens with God's wish. Siddharth says it was destined to happen. Tomorrow Rhea and Ranbir will marry and the chapter will be over. Prachi is shocked and says, "What? Who told you this?" Siddharth says Pallavi called and said that Ranbir and Rhea are getting married tomorrow. Prachi faint and falls down. Siddharth owes her and calls Sushma auntie. Pallavi calls the designer and asks Ranbir to give his measurement. Ranbir says it is a simple wedding and nothing will go wrong. Rhea says but it is a wedding and relative will come. Pallavi says I have invited my close relatives and friends. Rhea says it matters to me. Ranbir asks the designer to take the measurement. Rhea shows her address. Rhea shows her dress. Ranbir says it is good. Pallavi says when Rhea sits with you on the wedding altar, all your dreams will come true. Ranbir goes from there. The designer leaves. Rhea says Ranbir agreed to marry me, but his heart is saying otherwise. She says my Ranbir is not marrying me. Pallavi says once the marriage happens, then everything will be fine. Pallavi gets a call and asks Rhea to come. As the Audi designer came, Prachi gains consciousness. Siddharth asks what happened. Thank God that you got consciousness. Prachi says don't call the doctor. She says I fainted as. Siddharth asks if she got heart attack. Prachi says I have fainted as I am pregnant. Siddharth asks really? Sushma comes there and hears her. She says I am really happy for you. Prachi goes to vomit. Siddharth says this is a good news. He says I would inform Pallavi and Vikram. He thinks to call Ranbir first, and then he will ask him not to marry Rhea. Sushma hears him and stops him. Shaina comes to Pallavi's house. Rhea says she is my friend from Bangalore and she came for my marriage. Shaina congratulates Rhea. Pallavi says she will be the bridesmaid tomorrow. Rhea says nobody is important than you. The henna designer comes there. Pallavi asks Rhea to get the henna applied and says she will go and get Ranbir's room cleaned. Rhea asks Shaina to sit and asks the designer to show the designs. Shaina asks, I thought you would be in depression. Rhea says I am getting married to my husband now. She says I never wanted to marry Siddharth and says now I am getting married to whoever I wanted to. Shaina asks then why did you marry Siddharth first? Rhea says as Ranbir had married my sister before. Grandma hears her and asks her to tell her fully. Rhea introduced Shaina to Grandma and says she came from Bangalore. She says I felt that you are confused and says I will tell you fully. Grandma says Ranbir and Prachi used to love each other and that is why Ranbir got married to Prachi. Shaina says I felt that Prachi snatched Ranbir from Rhea. Grandma says the opposite thing has happened and says that this Rhea has snatched Ranbir from Prachi. Rhea asks the henna designer to apply the henna to her friend and she comes to Grandma. Rhea asks Grandma what is your problem? Grandma asks did you not know? Rhea says you just ate me. Grandma asks Rhea to come to the point and asks why are you playing games? She says the wrong thing have happened with Prachi in this house. Rhea says you will not agree that wrong thing have happened with me as Prachi has filled your ears against me. Grandma says I was against you from day one and knows everything about you. She says I don't know how to do conspiracy against you, else I wouldn't have let this happen. Grandma says there will be some solution for your conspiracies and when this happens, then your real face will come in front of everyone. Rhea says I have to get the henna applied on my hand of Ranbir's name. She says when the color is applied on my hand, I will show you as I heard that mother and her husband love me the most. Grandma says Pallavi loves Ranbir a lot and that is why she kept you on earth and says the day you will fall will be very hot and that day you should get henna applied too. It will work for the healing. Rhea says once the marriage gets done, let's see who get henna applied. Grandma feels helpless and says I know who has done conspiracy and who got betrayed and punished. She says I am helpless. Do some miracle, God. This marriage should not happen, else this house will break. She says send someone. Don't let this marriage be done. Thank you for watching my videos. Please like my videos, share it and please subscribe to this channel for more updates. Thank you.